Hello and welcome to News Central Television. I am Lekon Onabanjo. The top stories at this hour. Senate gives conditions for Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's reinstatement after court judgment. Nigeria Labour Congress kicks as lawmakers move to decentralize minimum wage. 10 Nigerian soldiers killed, 15 wounded following double attack by suspected terrorists. Details to come your way shortly. We begin with politics. Ahead of the 2027 general elections, leaders of the All Progressives Congress in the South-South region, led by Senate President Godswill Akpabio, have unanimously endorsed President Bola Tinubu as the party's sole presidential candidate. At the APC South-South stakeholders meeting held in Benin City, Edo State, the party also threw its weight behind the 4 APC governors in the region, adopting them as the party's sole candidates for their respective governorship races in 2027. We now look at legislative matters. The Senate has set conditions for the reinstatement of Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan following a federal high court judgment that nullified her 6-month suspension. Justice Bintanyako ruled that the suspension was excessive and denied Kogi Central constituents representation. While affirming the Senate's authority to discipline members, the court directed Akpoti-Uduaghan to apologize publicly for contempt over a satirical Facebook post and to make a 5 million naira fine payment. Meanwhile, Senate spokesperson Yemi Adaramodu said the Red Chamber will only act after Akpoti-Uduaghan complies with the court's directives. Senate counsel Paul Dauda also clarified that the judgment did not mandate her reinstatement but advised reconsideration. And now to discuss this, we're joined by a legal practitioner, Taiwo Ojumu. Taiwo, thank you so much for joining us to discuss this.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So the Federal High Court nullified the suspension handed down to Senator Akpoti-Uduaghan by the Senate. Do you agree that the punishment was excessive?
Yes, absolutely. I agree with in substance or substantially with the decision of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja that the punishment is quite excessive. I've heard that opinion long before now, and I'm happy that the courts in some ways actually agree with my opinion. While I also agree that it is not out of place or it is well within the right of the Senate to discipline any of its hearing members or member, as the case may be, I feel that suspending a senator for 6 months appears excessive and appears like a punishment taken too far. So I agree with the judgment in substance, substantially. I don't know if I can add a little opinion here. I just feel that although I've not read the judgment in full, but I just feel that the judge would have, the court would have proceeded to, if you ask me, proceeded to have what's called proposed or suggested the kind of punishment that would have been suitable or that would have been appropriate. She was suspended. Senator Natasha was suspended in March, and March till now is about 3 months. So if 6 months is excessive, let's assume 1 month is too ridiculously small, then maybe 2-3 months would have been appropriate. But the court did not suggest or did not make any pronouncement as to what it feels would have been the appropriate sanction.
So this probably would mean that you see this as a victory over maybe rights violation, so to speak. But then, do you also see this way that the suspended senator probably, in some instances, also overstepped the boundaries?
Yes, I also agree with that. I also share the opinion that I also feel that the senator, Senator Natasha, did overstep our boundaries in some ways because, especially in respect of the satirical post she made sometime in April. Then the thing is that there are rules, for these are leaders, these are lawmakers at the highest level of decision making in the country. They should do better in terms of following procedures and rules. There are rules to redress such issues. The social media is not the right place to go. I've always said this thing in my own private life that people, sometimes people love to bring issues that should go to judicial or quasi-judicial bodies. People like to bring them to the internet, to social media, to the court of public opinion, as they would say. Whereas their procedures, I feel that in that regard, she went a bit overboard. But I agree with the court in substance. The decision appears to be very sound, and I must especially commend Justice Binta Nyako for that very brave and sound judgment.
All right, so now, Taiwo, from a human angle perspective, could perceived excesses and satirical posts be excused owing to the sensitivity of claims in the chamber, allegations of sexual harassment, and the fact that it's a female senator, a gender in the minority in the National Assembly?
Yes, the thing is that yes, allegations have been made, but such allegations are still are very much at large in the sense that they are yet to be what's it called, verified. It's only the court of competent jurisdiction that also decide. But the matter before the court that the court decided upon has nothing to do with the allegation. I think it was more of the suspension. She went to contest a suspension, but if it can be established that the allegations the senator had brought forward against the Senate president are true, then it raises serious issues. It is something that should be taken seriously and not swept under the carpet, because the issue of gender, issue of sexual harassment is not such that should be taken with kids' glove. So yes, it's a very serious one. If it can be established that it is true. Yeah, but I also think that is also before the courts. But as of today, there are no substantive evidence to. I'm not the court. I don't preempt the court, but as of today, we just merely an allegation. It remains in that realm until the court establishes such allegation as true.
Well, it's not in court yet, but according to what we understand, it's under a committee probe. But then, the judgment advised the reinstatement of the suspended senator. So this would mean that the Senate still reserves the prerogative if the senator fails to make restitution, right?
Well, the thing is that as a lawyer, I love to comply strictly with the decision of the court, because I feel that the court, after appeal, if the parties decide to appeal, but I'm a respecter of the court's decision. However, like I said, the judgment, even though I've not read it in full, but the few parts I've read in judgment suggests that the court appeared to have given the Senate some liberty, because having highlighted some condition that the Senator Natasha has to meet. So somehow, somehow that gave the Senate some kind of liberty to vary the decision, vary in the sense that now they are pushing the burden to take further steps or to reinstate now rests on the senator. The senator that was it was Senator Natasha. So yes, like I said, if the court had proposed, if in my own view, I've gone ahead to suggest and propose an appropriate sanction or let's say time frame, it would have made more sense if you ask me. But saying that 6 months is excessive and no alternative appropriate time frame was suggested, so that kind of left the decision within the discretion of the Senate. So now the Senate is now saying through the Senate leader or spokesperson, they're now saying that unless and until Senator Natasha does what the court has ordered, that after that is done, then they reserve the right to consider. So I think it boils down to the fact that the court does not specifically pronounce on what it considered to be appropriate.
Okay, so permit me to be a bit cheeky here. Do you think that the people, of the Kogi Central that Senator Natasha actually represents, who have actually lost that representation in the National Assembly, have the right to sue, the Senate for the overbearing punishment and the fact that they've lost some days, or should I say some months, in terms of governance in the Senate House?
Well, I may think along that line that because and the thing is that I'm also of the opinion that moving forward, I think it's high time the Senate thought of other ways of punishing erring senators, and the reason is that in the bid to punish a member of the Senate, I think it is very much unfair and unjust to now punish thousands of people who that senator represents. So I think this conversation has brought up other conversations as to whether it is appropriate for a senator to be punished in that manner. I would have suggested that maybe the standing rules of the Senate can be amended in such a way that maybe fines can be levied against erring senators. Punishment like suspension for several months has inadvertent implication on the consistency or the people such senator is representing. So yes, I'm tempted to lean in favor of the opinion that the people who have been misrepresented or who have been affected by the fact that their leader has been suspended can have some form of a right which can be redressed by the court. I'm tempted to lean in favor of that opinion.
All right, thank you so much, Taiwo Ojumu, for sharing your thoughts with us on the news. And now to update you on the public hearing on Constitution Review. The Senate Committee on Constitution Review held a public hearing in Nigeria's South-South zone, reviewing over 50 proposed amendments to the 1999 Constitution. Stakeholders, including civil rights and civil society groups, traditional rulers and advocacy organizations, gathered in Ikotepene to push for reforms aimed at building a more inclusive and representative nation. Top issues raised include demands for 6 new states and 3 additional local government areas, support for the reserved seats for women bill, and strong opposition for removing labor from the exclusive legislative list. Former NLC President Senator Adams Oshiomhole joined labor unions in rejecting the labor proposal.
You have a better government. You have a more effective representation. And please know that Nigerian women will respect you, especially this particular Senate.
Ogoja was the O in the core. Up till now, almost how many years now, decades now, Ogoja State has been pending. It's the oldest area of this state, of this country, the oldest province of the whole country that has not become a state. I come from the southern part of Cross River State. Ogoja is in the north. We have absolutely no problem with the creation of Ogoja State.
We're asking that there's an amendment of the sections 48, 49, 71, 77, 91, 117 of the 1999 Constitution as amended.
On the entire bill, on the constitutional amendment, while our member states a robust position on all aspects of the constitutional amendments, we have presented in our memo a robust response, but the executive summary will be on the creation of Obono State.
We'll look at all the details and see if there's a problem anywhere, but broadly, we are not about to repartition the country to different parts. It's one country. And people must understand the logic. You see, as everybody wants the local government to be a country, sorry, to be a state. You are not going to spend all your national resources, services, bureaucracy, pay governors and commissioners and political appointees. You need resources for development. So people need to.
Let's go on a break. When we return, President Tinubu arrives in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil to attend the 17th BRICS Summit for heads of state and government. We'll tell you more in a bit. Stay with us. Earlier on the news, we told you that the All Progressives Congress, after holding a meeting at the in the South-South region, have unanimously endorsed the candidacy of President Bola Tinubu as the sole candidate for the APC in the 2027 general elections. And now we are joined by News Central's Amenze Bazuaye. She joins me from Benin City with key takeaways from the meeting. Amenze, it's nice to have you around once again. Now, for you, what stood out the most at today's APC South-South stakeholders meeting in Benin City?
Well, I think the most important thing that stood out was the fact that the APC, the All Progressives Congress, has unanimously endorsed the candidacy of President Bola Tinubu as the sole candidate for the APC in the 2027 general elections. And now we are joined by News Central's Amenze Bazuaye. She joins me from Benin City with key takeaways from the meeting. Amenze, it's nice to have you around once again. Now, for you, what stood out the most at today's APC South-South stakeholders meeting in Benin City?
Thank you so much, Lekon. Basically, the core takeaway from today's APC South-South stakeholders meeting was unity, putting up a united front, having political alignment at the highest level. The APC leaders across the zone, they reaffirmed their loyalty to President Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, and they formally endorsed him as the party's sole presidential candidate ahead of the 2027 elections. In addition, the 4 APC governors in the region, to start with here in Edo State, the governor of Edo State, Monday Okpeolu, also the governor of Cross River, Bazuaye, to Delta State Governor as well, Sheriff of Borewari, and Umoino of Akwa Ibom were also endorsed as the sole governorship candidates, which basically signals a deliberate effort to consolidate power, if I do say so myself, avoid internal rancor, and in a way project cohesion ahead of the next election cycle. Now, the meeting also served as a strategic meeting. It was having party leaders assess the current strength and, of course, the weaknesses of the APC structures in the South, particularly in states where the party is actually in opposition. With Edo State's election, we actually had the APC winning, but in some states, we have about 4 states that have the APC in power. 2 states still do not have that in the South-South region. So basically, this meeting was to see how they can mobilize more support for the APC in other states which do not have the APC in power. There was also in-depth conversations about grassroots mobilization, youth and women inclusion, governance, delivery, and how to counter emerging coalitions that are threatening to split the party's voter base. Ultimately, what we're seeing is a coordinated political roadmap, not just for 2027, according to the leaders who were at the event, but also a way to deepen APC's grip, basically in a region that most people would say is dominated by rival parties. Now, the atmosphere was charged, okay, with optimism. A lot of them were gingered, let me use that term. We had a lot of party executives, and the APC seems keen on turning this summit into a launch pad for future electoral success in the South-South, basically.
And would this mean that this gathering means that they have the political influence not only in South-South but in other regions based on the conversations that have been held so far?
All right. Basically, what this summit does is to galvanize support ahead of 2027, especially with the unanimous endorsement of President Tinubu as the party's sole candidate, and of course the adoption of the 4 APC governors in the region as governorship flag bearers. It positions the South-South as a competitive and possibly a decisive bloc in future elections. So yes, it's basically about optics, but it's also about showing that the party, of course, the APC, is ready to maintain and expand its hold in the region. So yeah, that's basically it. And obviously, we'll be bringing more details about the event and how it went in a subsequent bulletin.
All right. Thank you so much, Amenze Bazuaye, for sharing this with us. Moving on now, the new Niger People's Party has declared that Rabiu Kokonso will not contest the 2027 presidential election on its platform. In a statement on Saturday, NNPP National Chairman Dr. Agbo Major said Kokonso and his ally Buba Galadima have long been expelled from the party for anti-party activities. The clarification follows Galadima's recent claim that Kokonso would remain in NNPP and contest in 2027. Major said the party's memorandum of understanding with the Kokonsia movement ended after the 2023 election. He further accused Kokonso of attempting to hijack the party, altering its logo and dragging it into legal battles. The NNPP insisted it will no longer offer free tickets and advised Kokonso to float his own party for future ambitions. Osun State Governor Ademola Adeleke has dismissed rumors of his defection from the People's Democratic Party, affirming his loyalty and leadership within the party in Osun State. In a post on X, Adeleke clarified his political stance, following widespread speculation stating that he remains a loyal member and the leader of the PDP in Osun State. He also urged the public to disregard the defection rumors and focus on his administration's 5-point agenda. His statement followed a private visit to President Tinubu's residence, which fueled speculations. Amid Adeleke's clarification, the PDP is currently facing deepening internal turmoil with recent defections by Governors Umeno and Sharif Obereware, while leadership disputes and coalition talks continue ahead of the 2027 general elections. In the meantime, the National Working Committee of the Social Democratic Party has inaugurated a 5-member panel to investigate allegations of constitutional breaches, financial misconduct and diversion of party funds by the suspended national officers. The panel has been given 14 days to complete its investigation and submit its findings, after which the party says appropriate action will be taken. News Central's correspondent Aishat Saliu has more.
Following a resolution by the National Working Committee, the SDP suspended its national chairman, Shehu Gabam, the national auditor, Nadi Clarkson, and the national youth leader, Chukuma Udechukwu. The decision came after what the party described as compelling evidence of misconduct. A disciplinary committee has now been constituted to investigate the matter in line with provisions in the party's constitution.
Section 19.3 make provision for various offences. And further down that section of 19, make provision for investigation, setting up of committee to find out what has gone on, and even make provision for an appeal by whoever is indicted.
Advise on better ways to manage the finances of SDP to prevent abuse and breach of the Constitution.
The committee must show decorum, dignity, and decency to the persons who appear before it and to one another. In discharging your duties, we implore you to be just and impartial. Let your findings speak for themselves.
Responding to concerns about delayed discovery and investigation, the NWC insists it was not complicit. Members say they were consistently excluded from financial dealings and lacked access to the party's financial records.
We as a person, John SDP, we have not discussed financial matter once on the table. So because there is no finance. So ordinarily, if there is any, if anybody says there is any, let them provide evidence where finance was discussed in our minutes of minutes and recorded. These are the evidence you should be acted.
Questions have been asked. People in different positions have acted across various lines with futile results. It is until push came to shove that the NWC had to stand for posterity and integrity.
The need for a panel of inquiry became clear when it emerged that the suspended national chairman had allegedly submitted an unauthorized financial statement to INEC, an act the party says violated internal procedures and national regulations. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
At the Northeast Zonal Public Hearing on the review of Nigeria's 1999 Constitution held in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, the clamor for new state creation as well as more women representation at the National Assembly took center stage. News Central's Morikawa completes the report.
A gathering that brought stakeholders across different political parties, ethnic and religious affiliations, among others. It's the Northeast Zonal Public Hearing on the 1999 Constitutional Review, with inputs from individuals, civil society organizations, political groups, and traditional institutions, among others.
The 10th Senate constituted the Constitution Review Committee to tackle citizens' call for amendments to the Constitution.
We are here today to support the push of the reserved seats bill for women. We are supporting this bill because it's an inclusive bill.
There is no just saying Nigeria's participation in the process of amending the Constitution will strengthen the validity of the Constitution and create a sense of ownership.
Representatives from various states in the Northeast geopolitical region made a strong case for the creation of new states including Savannah out of Borno State, Katagum out of Bauchi State, Tangalawa and Highland out of Gombe State, and Amana out of Adamawa State, among others.
We came here as a delegation not to beg or just try to plead for the creation of Amana State. We are here to demand for the correction of a historical injustice.
The aspiration of Katagum has been the front runner for almost more than 3 decades. That is over 30 years ago. And we are very unanimous in the Senate.
The agitation for Korara State is a united agitation.
Concerns on electoral reforms, security reforms, including local government police, among others, were also on the front burner.
We unanimously disagree for moving the Nigerian Labour Congress industrial relations, industrial dispute and minimum wage from the executive legislative to concurrence list.
Several efforts have been made in the past to grant full independence to state legislature, but they have not yielded results.
We therefore need the sex to be scrapped and then give the powers of conducting elections in LGS to the Independent National Electoral Commission.
The Constitutional Review Committee acknowledged the widespread interest and pledged to compile and present the regional demands for necessary action. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umaru Kirawa.
The reconciliation between Federal Capital Territory Minister Nyesom Wike and suspended Governor Siminalayi Fubara is eliciting a wide range of reactions from politicians, civil society organizations and residents of Rivers State. While some see the move as a new dawn of hope, others are still watching the political scene to gauge the sincerity and impact of the reconciliation. This Central's Biola Festus sampled opinions and our reports.
The feud between suspended Governor Fubara and his political godfather began in 2023 over alleged accusations of high-handedness by FCT Minister Nyesom Wike and alleged attempts by Fubara to dismantle the minister's political structure. The feud rapidly escalated into political chaos, with lawmakers loyal to the FCT minister attempting to impeach the governor. The situation was exacerbated by arson attacks on the assembly complex and local government secretariats. Ultimately, both the governor and assembly members were suspended by the presidency. Although many political watchers had called for stability in the state, the recent peace deal between Wike and Fubara has received mixed reactions. For some residents, it signifies peace at last after a long period of political turmoil that had brought governance to a standstill.
Governor Wike and Governor Fubara, so they've reconciled. Oh, glory to Jesus, I'm happy. So does it mean that Governor Fubara is now going to his office again? Oh, thanks be to God. This is prayer answered. Even in my church, we have been praying that there must be peace.
It was really a setback to every person that is not only in Rivers State, but also in our country. You understand? And I just hope other persons will learn from this. You understand? We're humans, one can make mistakes. Understand? But the beauty of it all is that both of them have been able to come together to reconcile. And that's what we're interested in. So there's going to be more opportunities for investment. People can now move freely. This rumor of Port Harcourt is not peaceful will come to an end.
Meanwhile, some other political gladiators are taking the peace pact with a pinch of salt.
Until I hear with these my 2 ears that suspension has been lifted, as unconstitutional as it is, that unconstitutional act, they apologize for it, and that therefore it's been lifted, and the state is put back in the hands of a Rivers man to run.
However, civil society organizations are questioning the basis for the reconciliation and demanding that the public be let in on the conditions.
That peace arrangement is in favor of reversible. If Governor Sim did not agree to the peace pact, the peace arrangements, how would he come and put in place the development activities he has already put in place? How can he come and finish them? It's a lesson for you to know that in politics, there's no permanent enemy and permanent friend. So anytime you see two big people fighting and all, they don't need to take it personally. They don't need to take a side or any other thing. Just for you to continue preaching peace and see if both of them will reconcile. The way they are reconciling now, you can see the atmosphere of everybody's happy.
While the people of Rivers State continue to advocate for the restoration of democracy in the state, all eyes will be focused to see how far the truce between these political giants will help achieve peace. In Rivers for News Central, Biola Festus.
Away from that, President Bola Tinubu has arrived in Rio de Janeiro in Brazil to attend the 17th BRICS Summit for heads of state and government. The summit brings together leaders from Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and other emerging economies. Tinubu's plane landed on Friday night at Galeão Air Force Base, where he received the Guard of Honor. He was welcomed by Brazilian officials and will meet President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva in a bilateral session before the main summit on July 6 and 7. Tinubu is expected to deliver an address on Nigeria's economic reforms and meet with investors in agriculture, energy, and healthcare. The summit's theme focuses on inclusive global governance, climate change, and technology for the global south. Now, the Niger Labour Congress has vowed to resist any attempts by the National Assembly to remove labour matters, including the minimum wage, from the exclusive legislative list of the federal government to the concurrent list, where individual states will determine their workers' wages. NLC President Comrade Joe Ajaero issued the warning during the National Administrative Council meeting of the Central Working Committee held in Abeokuta, the Ogun State capital. Describing the move as an exercise in futility, Ajaero argued that the issue of minimum wage is treated globally as a national matter in line with International Labour Organization conventions, which regard member countries as entities, not subnational units, such as states. To security matters now, the Federal Capital Territory Police Command says operations carried out in the last 2 months have led to the arrest of over 80 suspects linked to various crimes ranging from kidnapping and armed robbery to fraud, rape, and child trafficking. According to the Commissioner of Police, these arrests stem from a record of 49 criminal cases, with areas such as Bari, Akpo, and Kubwa identified as key locations where failed kidnap and robbery attempts resulted in shootouts and arms recovery. Now, police in Abia State say they have maintained a steady strategic policing of the state to contain crime. The State Commissioner of Police, Danladi Issa, in a press briefing, disclosed that his men arrested some suspects for kidnapping, defilement, murder, and cultism, with some already standing trial. He added that tactical team is also investigating some crimes that have been reported to the command.
Our strategic operational procedures are ongoing, and it has yielded dividends. It is fight against crime and criminality, and that the command is not resting hours. A total of 230 suspects were arrested during the period. We've also arrested, during the period, we've arrested 3 kidnappers of 24 cultists. 24 cultists were arrested at the Burkina area at odd hour, at about 1 a.m. to be specific. They were all dressed in black. We recover arms from them, weapons, matches, a gun, dagger, and axe. Investigation has been concluded, and they are presently on remand at the Correctional Service, meaning the case is already in court.
Let's talk infrastructure now. The Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, has concluded 16 consecutive days of project commissioning across the 6 area councils of the FCT. The FCT minister says the completed projects are a testament to President Bola Tinubu's renewed hope agenda aimed at transforming infrastructure and livelihoods in the nation's capital. Wike also seized the moment to respond to recent political developments, particularly the emergence of a new opposition coalition. News Central's Sagir Ibrahim reports.
16 days of back-to-back commissioning exercises wrap up in Gwagwalada with the formal opening of the Aguma Palace, Radio Nigeria New Market Road. Dignitaries arrive in the usual fanfare, and the ceremony begins as soon as the president's representative arrives. After a series of goodwill messages, the FCT minister mounts the podium and does not hold back.
They are angry that Mr. President are coming to commission project. But other people, are you angry? No! This time is what it said, Operation Show Your Score Card. From 1999, I'm in this party. 2006, I'm in this party. 2014, I'm in this party. 2019, I'm in the other party. Now 2025, I'm in another coalition. The Born You Born coalition.
He emphasized that all contractors engaged were local, in line with the president's push to grow indigenous capacity and stimulate the economy.
That is an administration that believes that we must empower, we must encourage our local contractors.
Your Excellency, having proven our capacity to you, it is our prayer that you continue to carry us along in carrying out the renewed hope agenda of Mr. President.
Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented the president, highlighted the administration's commitment to delivering projects with direct impact on citizens.
What makes this moment even more remarkable is that the projects we are unveiling were not imposed from above. They were nominated by the people of Gwagwalada themselves, and this is the kind of democracy we believe in.
The high point of the event was the symbolic ribbon cutting by Vice President Shettima, officially commissioning the road and closing the 16-day commissioning trail. Residents who gathered at the event also had their say.
We are just too grateful because he has made Gwagwalada, in fact, he has given Gwagwalada a different face.
Market women were appreciating. You cannot pass that road before because of the road is not good. Many women used to fall inside that gutter.
Among the commissioned projects were the newly renovated Abuja International Conference Center, bus terminals in Kugbo and Mabushi, the Apo-Wasa Road, the N16 interchange, and connecting roads across multiple districts. In Abuja for News Central, Sagir Ibrahim.
And now to health matters. The president of the Defense and Police Officers' Wives Association is calling on spouses of security personnel to prioritize their well-being, urging them to embrace regular exercise as a lifestyle and a pillar of resilience in managing the home front. This comes as members of the POA gathered in Abuja for an aerobics session aimed at promoting physical fitness and emotional strength among women whose families serve on the front lines. Our correspondent, Idong Joseph, reports.
Behind the rhythm and coordinated energy lies a deep goal: to use physical fitness as a tool for building emotional resilience among women whose spouses bear the burden of national security.
As you eat, you should know that you exercise. Because if you don't do that, that means you are not balanced. It must go hand in hand. And because we've not been doing it, a lot of people don't know that. That's why the advocacy is becoming stronger, so that they know that it's part of life. The way you eat, the way you go to farm, the way you walk, exercise also supposed to be in. I'm sure you should start with that.
They say that the session fosters bonding and support among the wives of armed forces personnel. They also urge the men to support their wives in embracing regular exercise and a healthier lifestyle.
Apart from doing the exercise, coming together is another thing, aspect I want us to appreciate. Coming together as one family is very important. We come and then when we do, even if it is a dance or whatever it is, those that are fat, they shed their weight.
And when we come together like this, it's to foster relationships. So I believe men should allow their women to come out, because a healthy wife is a wealthy life. They will in turn enjoy it when their women come out for exercises like this.
As the saying goes, a sound body makes for a sound mind. It is hoped that this growing wellness culture will continue, not just among the poor members, but within their households as well. In Abuja for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
Coming up on the news, 9 dead, 11 injured in Egypt's minibus crash. We'll tell you more in a bit. Do stay with us. In Niger, 10 soldiers have been killed and 15 wounded following a double attack by suspected jihadists near the western border with Burkina Faso. The coordinated assaults hit the villages of Bulunjunga and Samira in Gotheye departments. Defense Minister General Salifu Modi, speaking on national television, said the army responded forcefully, killing 41 of the attackers described as mercenaries. The region near Mali and Burkina Faso is a long-time hotspot for extremist violence. Samira is also home to Niger's only industrial-scale gold mine. In May, 8 workers from the mine died when their vehicle struck a roadside bomb. The attacks come as Niger, ruled by a military junta, continues its struggle against armed groups linked to Al-Qaeda and Islamic State. In North Africa, 9 people were killed and 11 others injured in a road crash in northern Egypt. The collision involving 2 minibuses occurred on Saturday along a busy highway in Menofia, about 80 kilometers north of Cairo. This marks the second fatal accident on the same route within the week. On June 27, 19 people, mostly teenage girls working as day laborers, were killed when a truck hit their minibus. Egypt's roads have continued to record high fatalities each year, with accidents frequently attributed to reckless driving, poor road conditions, and weak law enforcement. Authorities have not yet confirmed the cause of the latest crash, but investigations have been launched as rescue efforts and medical care for the injured are underway. Kano State Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf has appointed Super Eagles forward Ahmed Yusuf as the new general manager of Kano Pillars Football Club. The appointment comes as part of a broader restructuring aimed at boosting the club's performance in the upcoming Nigerian Premier League season. Musa's appointment follows the expiration of the previous board's one-year tenure, during which the team finished 9th in the league. The governor also reappointed most board members while introducing key changes. The reshuffled 17-member management board includes Chairman Ali Mohammed Umar and media directors Abubakar Dandago and Ismail Tangalash. Musa, a former Kano Pillars player, brings star power and leadership to his new role. England defender Kyle Walker has completed a permanent move to Burnley, signing a 2-year deal after joining from Manchester City for a reported £5 million fee. The 35-year-old, who made 410 Premier League appearances and won 6 league titles with City, returns to the English top flight after a loan spell at AC Milan. Despite his City contract running until 2026, Walker was deemed surplus to requirements and excluded from the Club World Cup squad. His arrival at newly promoted Burnley reunites him with manager Scott Parker, a former teammate at Tottenham. Walker brings veteran experience to the Clarets as they aim to stay in the Premier League after a record-breaking promotion campaign. And that's all at this hour, but then we look at our major stories before we go. The Senate has given conditions for Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's reinstatement after court judgments. Nigeria Labour Congress has kicked as lawmakers move to decentralize minimum wage. We also told you that Nigerian soldiers have been killed and 15 wounded following double attack by suspected terrorists. You can send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen. You can also follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. Watch us live on DSTV channel 422, GoTV channel 23, StarTimes channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Lekon Onobanjo.